Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. It is a great pleasure to have you all again here in TSS to have the lecture from Marco Diniz on the topic selfishness, which is really a great topic for all of us Spiritists, right? So it is not only something that we have to pay attention to, but also learn about it. So we have to learn about selfishness to improve everything in our lives, right? And thank you all for being with us as well online. We are going to have before the lecture with Marco, we'll have the initial prayer and the reading by Teresa.
So from the book Happy Life by Divaldo Pereira Franco by the Spirit of Joana de Angelis. Examine your conscience whenever possible, as often as possible. Many complaints would disappear if the complainer analyzed his own behavior better. We always see the problem in the other person and the error stamped on the other person's face. Normally, when someone creates problems and obstacles, he is reacting to your conduct, to the way you expressed yourself or the way you acted. Have the courage to examine yourself more severely, recalling attitudes and words. As you discover errors, hurry to correct them. Find the person that you hurt and make it up to him. Do not persevere in your mistake, whatever the justification. So let us all now be present in this moment and connect our thoughts and our hearts to God, our Creator, to Jesus, our Master, and to the good spirits here present. And let's ask them to enlighten us so we can learn a little bit from this lecture that we're going to be able to see today. And we want to ask especially that the good spirits here mentors to enlighten our brother Marco so he can help us to learn a little bit more from the gospel of our Master Jesus. And so be it.
Good morning, everyone. Just need a few seconds here to prepare everything. Okay, morning. There we go. So today's lunch and learn. So we have a delicious food waiting for us over there. And I promise to not extend this lecture too long. So unfortunately I have to advise you this subject here might cause indigestion. Right, so to start, let's check the definition of selfish in some online dictionaries. The suffix ish is used to form adjectives from nouns, in this case of the sense of belonging to, right? So self is us, right? So belonging to. So Merriam-Webster defines selfish as a person who is concerned excessively or exclusively with oneself. Or selfish is a person seeking or concentrate on one own advantage, pleasure, well-being, without regard others. So dictionary.com has a similar definition, right? Selfish is a person devoted or caring only for oneself, or a person concerned primarily with own interest benefits regardless of others. So like you can see, they have very similar definitions, and they are exactly everything that we know already. Right? So we can just look around us and you can see selfishness everywhere. Everywhere. I am a Brazilian, and seeing all the recent events that we have in Brazil right now, right, and still happening, and not only in Brazil, in everywhere in the world, our neighbors here, right? So everywhere. So I thought, okay, that's gonna be easy to talk about because I have a lot of ammunition, a lot of things to talk about. But I thought, oh, you know what? Let me put everything aside a little bit. Everything that I know, and that's what I would like to ask you guys. Let's put that aside, and all the news that is disturbing us, let's put that aside, and let's learn Spiritism with let's learn selfishness according to Spiritism. Let's try to learn Spiritism, what Spiritism tells us about selfishness. And I can tell you, there is a lot of information, a lot of information. I was looking all the Chico Xavier's book, all the books of the codification, and there is a lot. So what we decide to do here is concentrate everything on the 5 books of the codification. And we're gonna try to explain what is selfishness, where is selfishness found, who are selfish, why we are selfish, the most important one, how we're going to get rid of selfishness, and when we're going to do it. So let's start with what is selfishness. So question 785, the Spirit's book. Selfishness is the greatest obstacle to progress. So the Spirit is telling us that they're not talking about the intellectual progress, right? Intellectual progress, that's where we have today. Our internet, all the technologies, the advancements we have, they are talking about the moral progress. Question 913. Selfishness is the root of all vice. The Spiritists say that all evil comes from selfishness. Selfishness is the scourge, the plague, the flagellum of human society. On the Medium's book, the French mathematician, inventor and writer Pascal, he said, always hinders evolution. In other words, selfishness creates difficult for us, resulting in delay or obstruction or moral progress. And the book of Genesis, the Spirit said, all illness, sickness, all disease are created by ourselves, do our own vices. So selfishness is the cause of war, calamities, disagreements, injustice, oppression, in short, all afflictions. In question 883, the Spirit book, Kardec asked the Spiritists, whoa, wait a minute. It's not natural, the desire to possess stuff? And the Spiritist said, yes, it is natural, but there is always a but. If you want that only for yourself, or if you want that for your own satisfaction, that goes against the law of justice. That is selfishness. But Kardec was not convinced with that question, or the answer, right? So, and then a sub-question of the same question, 883, he tried in a different way. He said, isn't the desire to possess legitimate, since the one that who has enough to live on is not a burden to others? And they said, yes, but there are people which their desire it's impossible to satisfy. And I believe we all know people like that. They accumulate stuff without benefit to anyone, including themselves. So why only to satisfy their passions? Now it's my turn to ask you guys, which one of us do not have something at home, in a closet or somewhere, that we don't use it for a long time? Or sometimes we never use it. We just bought that thing and it's there. Yes, we all have it. Probably it's there because we are so attached and we cannot get rid of it. Look, we heard many times, there is nothing wrong to have, to possess stuff. There's nothing wrong with that, since we use it. I'm gonna give you guys an example. My wife and I, we like a Brazilian comedian. His name is Whindersson Nunes. He's a YouTube sensation, right? He has almost 30 million subscribers, around 2.1 billion viewers. His channel is on the 15 most subscribed channels on YouTube. He's only behind big names like Justin Bieber, Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, Katy Perry. I'm mentioning him because an unknown guy, 23 years old, born and raised in the state of Piauí, north of Brazil, and not in a wealthy family. He didn't born in a wealthy family. He became a celebrity from one day to another, in a blink of an eye. Not too long, 1 year ago, I believe. He became this celebrity, and he just bought an airplane a few months ago. I know what could pass in your mind, but stop and think for a moment. He makes his living doing stand-up shows and TV commercials, right? All around Brazil and outside of Brazil too. He was here in the States not too long ago. So allowing to have a jet, it helped him tremendously, make his life, facilitate his life tremendously. So allow him to have one or two or more shows in the same city in the same day, right? Which is really hard, if it's not impossible to do that if you rely on commercial flights. So he just mentioned to the press that he spent around 70,000 reais, around 35,000 Canadian dollars in maintenance per month, right? And knowing this celebrity lifespan, especially for YouTube celebrity, is so short, he said when there is no more shows, there is no more need to have a jet. He's gonna sell it. He said he's not care about status. This is the perfect example I'm trying to tell you guys. See, there is nothing wrong to even have a jet. If you need it, if you use it. So But to have a jet just to show off, or just to the sake of having it, that's not right. Moving on, where we can find selfishness. Well, Kardec in the Gospel According to Spiritism explained, using the teaching of given by the Spiritists, that on the infinite universe there are many, many schools. We used to call that planets. So, for example, our sun is just one on the estimate to 2 to 400 billion planets just in the Milky Way. So imagine all those stars, like our sun, having planets of their own. So you can imagine how many schools we have just in the Milky Way. Okay? And they are in conditions, they are in conditions very different from one to another, depending of the degree of advancement of their students, their inhabitants. Okay? So I just want to clarify that all schools have students. It means there is no planet without inhabitants. There is no empty planets. Even that you cannot see them, or they don't look like us, they are there. Okay, so just to clarify that. So Kardec divides them in categories, and it's not possible to make an absolute classification between them, but in general, they can be divided in 5 categories. The first incarnation of the human soul are in the primitive worlds. The human instincts are developing. Okay, so because of that, there is no notion of right or wrong. They don't know. The only thing they do is try to conquer food. So there is no selfishness on those planets. When the planet, like our planet, reaches a certain intelligence and moral levels, then the planet is promoted to a trial and expiation world. That's where we are at the moment. In a trial and expiation planet, there is more evil than good. That's explain what we're seeing today, right? So we achieve, some progress was achieved in those planets, but their inhabitants, their students, are inclined to many, many vices. That's an indication of moral imperfection. Translation, there is selfishness in those planets. And I believe that all you guys know, we are in the middle of the transition to the next level, the regenerative worlds. And when a planet reaches that level, right, the spirits obstinate to evil, they will be forced to leave. They're not going to be expelled, or nobody's going to kick them off. What's going to happen is when they die, they will not be allowed to reincarnate here anymore. Okay? So it's not going to be like, okay, now we are a regenerative world. So everybody that's not good, out. No, it's not going to be like this. What is happening, this transition, it's happening right now. People that are dying at this moment, maybe they will not reincarnate here anymore. Okay? And why? To not disturb the others. So the ones that are in the path of the good, those guys, not going to disturb them anymore. And the ones that are going to still here, the ones that are going to stay here, they still have something to expiate. But in the regenerative world, evil still exists. And if evil exists, then there is selfishness. Much, much more reduced. Very little, but still there. So a period that a planet stay like a regenerative world is short. The Spirit didn't specify how long, but they did say that the ones that stay on that planet is still fallible. In other words, they are still capable to make mistakes. So this way, it's very easy to fall back towards of trial expiation, where new and more fearsome trials waiting for them. But passing that phase, a planet is finally promoted to a happy world. Good outweighs evil. Selfishness, gone. Gone. Not present anymore. And then when we reach perfection, we will be in the divine worlds. Good reigns completely. No more evil. Finito. So, based on what we just saw, now it's easy to know who is selfish. God created our spirits simple and ignorant. And God will shape them, will shape us until perfection is reached. So everybody is perfectible. Your neighbor, the one that you don't like it, perfectible. The bad politicians in Brazil, perfectible. Your husband, perfectible. Your wife, perfectible. So, simple and ignorant in the beginning, but destined to perfection. So, Kardec explains on the spiritual books that the classification of spirits is based on their degree of development. So, it means that the qualities they have acquired and the imperfection from which they not free themselves yet, that's what they classify as spirit in one order or another. He explained this classification is by no means absolute. And the transition, like you can see here, from one degree to another degree to the next degree, it's hardly perceptible. The ones on the top, without any impurities of matter, they are the pure spirits, the angels. I have good news for you. We're going to be there. One day. Some is going to take more than others, but we are going to be there. For sure. I promise you. Okay? So, what happened? This happened after their last incarnation. You become a pure spirit. And by the way, those bad guys too. Okay? So, destined to perfection. So, they are angels and they will be in the divine world. Now, take a look at this classification and just think where we are in this classification. I'm so sorry to tell you that the answer to our question, who is selfish, is we are. Okay? Third order, imperfect spirits, look at their characteristics. Predominance of matter. Ignorance, pride, selfishness, and everything else that comes from that. So before we move to the next section, the why we are selfish, I would like to mention two questions that when I was doing my research, I I thought was very, very interesting, and I think is worth to mention here. The first is question 901 on the Spiritist book, where Kardec creates a situation with two individuals. One individual collects a treasure but doesn't spend it. It's like the Walt Disney character, the Scrooge McDuck, the uncle of Donald Duck. Okay, in Brazil we call him Tio Patinhas. He's characterized as a greed, a selfish miser, a person who refuses to spend. Okay, sometimes to the point to foregoing even his basic comfort and necessities. Why? Just to hoard, just to collect money or other possessions. The other individual, it's only selfish toward others. Ask him a favor or money? No, I don't have it. No, I can't. No. But he's extravagant toward himself. So, for himself, he never measure any effort and always have money to spend or satisfy his own tastes and passions. I believe we all know people like that. Then Kardec asks the Spiritists, which one is guilty? Which one is reach the spiritual world in worse condition? What do you think? They said the one who spends. The one who spends, he's more selfish than the Scrooge McDuck. Why? Because the miser has already received part of his punishment. Because he punished himself, refusing to spend his own money in even his basic comforts and necessities. I thought it was very interesting that, because initially I thought like Teresa. Sorry, how am I gonna forget her name? Again, there is nothing wrong to have comfort. Nothing. To have a good house, even a jet, eat well, have a good clothes. Nothing wrong. Okay? But you probably are thinking, Marco, something doesn't sound very right, because I remember Jesus said to a young man that asked him about what do I need to do to inherit the eternal life. Aha, I knew you were going to ask that. So, Book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 21. Jesus said, sell your possessions, give to the poor, follow me. Well, it's not exactly like that. Kardec explained that passage on the Gospel according to Spiritism. Jesus' intention was not to tell everyone to sell what they possess in order to obtain salvation. Jesus meant to show that to be attached to matter, to material possessions, that is an obstacle to salvation. He meant exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to show you guys on this lecture. Selfishness enslaves us to matter. And eternal life doesn't occur without sacrifice. I heard that once from G. Clay, and I will never forget, we're not here in vacation. We're not here in vacation. Okay, some of us think we're here just to have fun. And if you want to free yourself from matter, okay, you have to wait until I get to the house section, right? So the house section is going to come in a few seconds. Hold on. Recap. If you use it for good, if you don't waste it, and most important, if it has been acquired without harm others, you're fine. You're good. Don't need to worry about it. The second question that I thought was very interesting was the question 770, where Kardec asked the Spiritists what they think about people that live in complete isolation to avoid relationships, conflicts, in other words, everything that comprises the moral of an individual. Simple answer: double selfish. I thought it was very interesting too, because if you think that, okay, if I isolate myself, if I don't have relationship with other people, okay, I'm safe. But no, here is just a gas station, right? So we're here, we treat each other very well, right? Because we are in the Spiritist Center. So it's easy. That's what I'm saying, this is a gas station. We're here just filling the tank. But the real world is outside. That's where we need to be good, to do good to others. And that is there that's difficult. It's easy for me to treat each one of us very well. But outside, the thing is different. So, now let's try to understand why we are selfish. That's the part that I like most, is this part. Why? Okay, so you probably saw this question before. If you knew the world is gonna end tomorrow, what do you do today? Probably saw this question before, right? So try to follow the following questions in your mind, okay? What will you do while you're waiting for tomorrow? What will you do while you're waiting for extermination? Will you work for your progress or education if you know that the world's going to end tomorrow? Will you respect the rights, property, and life of the other fellow citizens if you know the world's going to end tomorrow? Will you submit to any law or authority, no matter how legitimate it might be, if you know the world's going to end tomorrow? I'll answer for myself. Of course not. Of course not. When we believe in nothingness, we concentrate our thoughts in the present life. And there is no reason for us to worry about future. The future that we don't expect to arrive. This exclusive preoccupation with the present leads us to our own selves, to think in our own selves more than anything else. And is therefore a most powerful stimulus to selfishness. Let's enjoy yourselves while you're here. Let's enjoy yourselves as much as possible, because we know that after that it all ends. Let's enjoy yourself right now, for we do not know how much longer our life's gonna last. This way of thinking leads us to another assumption, even worse for society. We have the right to be happy and feel good no matter what. Let's enjoy ourselves in any way we can. Book of Genesis, Kardec goes straight to the point. Under the impression that everything ends with life and we are alone in this infinite universe, selfishness is everything. And the word of order is every man for himself. That's what we're seeing today. You will die. This is the greatest lie ever told to humanity. Ignoring that you are this envelope here, believing that everything ends with life, and thinking you are not immortal, happiness in this world is just for the clever ones, for the smart ones. So in Brazil, around 1970, we have a commercial that immortalized this concept. In this commercial, a cigarette brand was claiming to be better and cheaper in comparison to the other brands. And at the end of the commercial, Gerson, it's a famous soccer player at that time, said, I like to take advantage of everything. Take advantage of you too. And it looks like this motto, it's there everywhere. Everybody want to take advantage. Everybody want to be much smarter than others. Everybody wants to take more than others. And nobody wants to share. You see our neighbors right here. Not only Brazil, he doesn't want to share anything. No, only us, only us. And people today are so busy with this motto in their minds. Okay, and they're so busy they don't have time to spend with their own families. The family roles looks like be declining in the society right now. Unfortunately for many today, a father figure represents absence, abandon, sometimes lack of authority. It's such a pity that so many do not exercise with love and wisdom the fatherly role. But the family is the root of humanity, and it has a crucial role in today's world. And that's why Kardec in the question 775 asked the Spiritist, what will be the result if the family ties were relaxed? The magnification of selfishness. I'm going to increase the selfishness. So, family, very important. And because of that, we use all our intellectual morals, everything that we achieve already, all the advancements, just to harm and destroy our neighbors. As long we let ourselves to be dominated by pride and selfishness, all the intellectual progress, all this advanced, is not going to do anything. It doesn't have the power to regenerate our society. So I think now with all this information, we now go into put in practice. How are we going to destroy selfishness in us? Let's start with question 917 of Spiritist book. Selfishness will be weakened with the predominance of moral life over the material life. Especially when we understand that the real life is there in the spiritual realms. Not here. It is there. Marco Diniz will die. Mark will die. Okay? A man, you, everybody, we must die once. It's in the Bible. Okay? Marco Diniz will die once. You only can see zombies on Netflix. Okay? This envelope, when this envelope here disappear, Marco Diniz is gone. When I discarnate, there is no more Marco Diniz. But the spirit inside of Marco Diniz the spirit that animates this envelope, the spirit that animates Marco Diniz, will live forever. Marco Diniz is gone. Everything that I have, or everything that you have today, your body, your name, your life, relationships, your house, your job, your titles, citizenship, everything you will die. Because you're not only that. You're not only that. You are a spirit. That's what we have to have in your minds. Okay? And we continue making the same mistake all the time. Right? We're with this. And we only think about the present. Thanks to the Spiritism that let us know about that. Question 913. The Spirit tells us that we must get rid of our hearts every single little sentiment of selfishness. Because selfishness is incompatible with love, justice, and charity. Question 883. They tell us that you are practicing the law of love and charity when you accumulate assets through your labor, not winning the 649 or winning the lottery, through your labor with the intention to help others. Question 788 explains that the same way light annihilates darkness, charity eliminates selfishness. I'm not saying that, it's in the Spirit book, right? So, and it was not Kardec saying that too. It was the high order spirits telling that. Also, according to Spiritism, the spirit of Lacordaire, a French preacher, journalist, and a political activist, give us a recipe that I'm going to ask permission to read that. Know how to be content with little. If you are poor, do not envy the rich, because wealthy, it's not necessary for happiness. If you're rich, do not forget your possessions have been entrusted to you. You are responsible for. And that you must justify their use if you are giving an accounting of expenditures. Do not be an unfaithful trustee by utilizing your possessions to satisfy your pride and sensuality. Do not think that you have the right to dispose of for solely use or for your own use what is nothing by a loan. A loan. Not a gift. A loan. Let's understand one thing. If I take this watch here, so I take my watch and I give to Tiago. Okay, I'm donating. I'm donating. Yeah.
I heard you.
I'm donating this watch to you. Or let's say I'm giving this to somebody outside that doesn't have a watch. Okay? I'm not giving anything. I'm transferring this watch to that person. I'm just transfer that. Who said that is mine? Who said that? Maybe I bought that with the money of my work, but who said that's mine? When we incarnate, we live in this transfer system. You know why? Discarnate now and come back, try to get the watch. We receive stuff and we transfer stuff. Okay? everything that you transfer to somebody else was never yours. That's a blessing, because that teaches us two lessons. The first is the law of use. Okay? All we have is to be used, not to be in the closet. Need to be used, not collected. The second, solidarity. Okay? The transfer system is valid, but it's the initial stage of love. Do you want to know what the only thing you can give to others because it's yours and you cannot transfer? That's your love. That's the only thing that's truly yours. It's your love. But I'm not going to go in that direction because this is the subject of my lecture in November. Okay, so let's go back to Lacordaire. So if you are unable to repay it, and if you don't have the right, you do not have the right to ask for it in the first place. And remember that those who give to the poor are settling a debit. It's paying a debit they have contract with God. I thought that was perfect recipe. Okay. On the book of Genesis, Kardec said that knowing that we are immortal, that we are not alone in the universe, and with the certainty of future, everything that I just said to you guys, we do not have more excuse. We do not have more excuse. And Kardec, quoting the Alexandre Dumas, the French writer that wrote the novel Three Musketeers, he said, one for all and all for one. So the opposite before, right? Every man for himself. Now it's one for all for one. And of course, I could not say that the most complete formula was given by our governor, the perfect standard that God offers us as a guide and model, Jesus. You want to get rid of selfishness in you? Love your neighbor as yourself. Do to others what you want them to do to you. Love your enemies. Forgive offense if you yourself want to be forgiven. Practice good without ostentation. Judge yourselves before you judge others. All of Jesus' morals are summed in two virtues: charity and humility. The two virtues contrary to pride and selfishness. So charity is the opposite of selfishness. Humility is the opposite of pride. In all his teachings, he points to those two virtues as being the way to eternal life. And Kardec finalized saying that wrapped the whole thing in the Gospel according to Spiritism, saying that if you practice those two maxims, that is, love your neighbor as yourself and do to others what you want done to you, leads to destruction of selfishness. In the book Heaven and Hell, Kardec said, who suffers in this life did not purify themselves in the previous one. And worst, if they do not so in this life, they will suffer further in the next. Why? Because suffering is inherent to imperfection. That leads us to our last question. When we're going to eliminate selfishness in us? Kardec is a genius. It's so logical. If you suffer, as long you are imperfect, just a sick person suffers as long he or she does not eliminate the illness. As long you continue to be a selfish, you will suffer the consequence of selfishness. So simple, right? So our planet progress physically through the transformation of the elements that compose it from beginning to now. And now progress morally through purification of the incarnated, discarnated spirits linked to the planet, that populate the planet. So from a primitive planet here, we become a trial and expiation planet. And we know we are in the middle of that transition to the next level. Okay? We call that planetary transition. We are in the middle of that. And we also know now that we can find selfishness in the trial and expiation planets, and mainly here, and a little in the regenerative worlds, right? Exceptionally in the regenerative worlds. So in order to eliminate selfishness completely, if you did not start your inner transformation yet, if you did not start working your moral progress, you must do it now. This incarnation is your chance. Is the turning point. Book 2,000 years ago, the senator Publius Lentulus met Jesus on the lake Gennesaret, and Jesus said to him, "Senator, after many years far from the path of good, today you have come to the turning point for the regeneration for your entire life. It's up to you to take advantage now or a few millennia from now." Remember, destiny to perfection? It's up to you. Do it now or for a few millennia from now, because you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it anyway. So you have to do it. Spiritism, other religion, your husband, your wife, they're not gonna do it for you. It's like Jesus said to Publius, it's up to you. It's your efforts. It's your sacrifice. Do it now. Save yourself a lot of time and suffering. Do not take the risk to reborn on a different planet, probably same or worse than this one. And worse, leaving your important ones, your loved ones behind. So do it now. Or do it later, like Emmanuel did after millennia. Unfortunately for him, because Emmanuel was Publius Lentulus in a different life. So in decodification, in the Spiritist books, in the Chico Xavier books, there is way more information than that. I just tried to condense it as much I could in a 4 or 5 minutes lecture. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. It was a great lecture. Now we have time for questions. Do we have questions here? Nobody there online? Oh, I have one question. Are we all, so because we are in this we are going through the regenerative world, are we all selfish then?
Yes, we are.
We are all selfish. Yeah, and I was thinking about something that you also, the number of questions from the why there, and I felt I started to think about the situation where I could have maybe the world is coming to an end, and then what would I do, right? And I thought about, well, I would probably call my family, and try to spend as much time because they are not
With
here,
them,
right?
yes. Mhm.
But at the same time, I know that the infrastructure that we have is not enough to allow everyone to do the same, right? And I started to feel angry about, like, when you were talking, right? Okay, but I won't be able to talk to them because if everybody tries to do the same, then they will do. Nobody will be able to, or just a few will be able to. And then I felt, okay, then I'm selfish as well, right? So even though I was thinking not about like saving money or anything like this, I was still being selfish, not letting others that may not even have the time to talk to their parents every day, because I do that every day. So if I do it every day, then I would have to, instead of doing this, I would have to allow others to do that could have no time to do that during the week. So it's kind of, it's interesting how you present that.
Let's say this analogy about tomorrow. That we know with the advancement of technology we have today, we know that our planet, our solar system, is going to end. Mm-hmm. We know that. It's mathematical. It's logical. It's going to happen, right? Or the sun, it's just burning energy. So one day that is going to end. So our solar system is destined to end. It's going to take 1 billion years to happen. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be tomorrow. It's going to take 1 billion years to happen. Mm-hmm. But this analogy about tomorrow, it's kind of this. So if you continue to have the mentality, this, okay, the world's going to end tomorrow. Oh my God, what have you forgot to do? I have to call my family. I have why that money that I have in the bank, it's doing there? Let me spend all that money. It's the same concept about, okay, I'm just this. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, and the other thing is this: we reserve time every day to do stuff for our body, right? So we brush our teeth, we take a shower. I hope we take a shower. We go to the gym and. To just take care about this envelope here that it's gonna disappear. It's not gonna be here forever. Why we don't separate? Why we don't have a part of our day, a few minutes of our day to think about this? I am an eternal spirit. I will live forever. Why I'm not going to take care about that part? That is the most important part. Mm-hmm. I don't care if when it's going to work tomorrow, if I'm not going to be able to call my mom, because I know in the next one we'll be together again.
Mm-hmm. True.
And that's more or less where I try to put that concept. So.
Just a quick comment.
Now the questions
When we talk about selfishness, we always talk about material stuff, like I'm hogging material stuff, I don't help, I have more than I should, and and then I have those things in my closet sitting there for 5 years that I could be actually donating to someone helping, right? So also thinking about materials, but we have to remember that you can be also selfish with your intelligence, with your knowledge, right? Which we do a lot. Right? So I don't share my knowledge, which is what they call hiding your light under the bush, right? The bushel. That we have a part of the gospel talks about that, right? So that person in the office that I'm not going to teach you how to do that, I learned alone, so you learn on your own. So how many times you're selfish in terms of our knowledge? Sometimes even with the knowledge of religious knowledge, because if you're not part of my religion, I should not save you, right? I should not help you.
Yeah.
Because I use my religion as a way I only help people inside my religion. If you're out of my religion, I don't help you, right? So it goes way beyond material stuff. So my I love my family, but
you're not selfish with.
But if you're not my family, then it is
exactly. You're not selfish with your family, but you're selfish with others.
Here's an example on a lecture from a Spiritist lecture in Brazil. That this guy gave a perfect example that we talk about mother's love. They can say it's the most unconditional love, and it is. I think for the level of love that we have, probably is the most. It's not perfect yet, but he says, I'm going to give an example of selfishness. If there's two mothers sitting in here, and then all of a sudden we hear two kids screaming at the back, those two mothers are going to run. the one that was not her kid who got hurt is gonna say, "Oh, thank God it's not my kid," right? And then the other ones, the kid got hurt, is the one now in despair. If our love wasn't selfish, no matter which kid got hurt, both mothers would be saying, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" Right? So I'm very good at loving who's close to me, but our love beyond that becomes selfish, right? And of course, nobody's saying that I should have a love for like a distant friend. It's not that I have someone who's my brother, my sister, or my kid. It's obvious they're not. But see how our love all of a sudden gets very selfish when it goes beyond. So we can be selfish with our sentiments, with our emotions, with our intelligence, with our knowledge. So it goes way beyond than money.
No, I agree.
Maybe you have to repeat a little bit, just summarize for our friends online.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. Well, Teresa said that.
It was.
I think you're able to.
You were able to?
Just say this is not only about the material things.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Like I said, there's so much stuff there, and initially when I got the lecture, I said, "Well, what I'm gonna do," and then after a few days thinking about, I said, "Okay, I just took one path," but yes, that's like Teresa said, it's way more complicated than that, and it's just not about the material stuff; it's about everything. Okay? And then, but again, I think this is also the whole thing. It's about this, right? So because society is still thinking about the biggest lie, right? So, yeah, you're gonna die, right? And my wife and I, we had a conversation with a friend last Friday, and he's thinking exactly like this. I'm gonna die, and thinking of that way, you have this everything that we have, this selfishness we have today, right? So where one country doesn't want to share with the other country, and that's what upset me when I see those movements to close the borders instead to open, and we all become one big family, and instead to just for my family, my country. No.
And we have another question.
Yes, I was wondering, something like Teresa said, is more important to give, it's more valuable to give time than to give material things.
For sure, yeah.
It's
all about.
Repeat the question.
Oh yeah, the question is, it's more important to give time than material stuff, and yeah, for sure, because like I was telling about the love, right? So that's the most important thing. You could give even your time to. You can give a lot of material stuff to everybody, but if there is no love attached, it is not worth it. But you can give your time to, and if you just do it for obligation, I have to go to TSS because I am a volunteer there, and if I'm doing this, I am buying my ticket to the heaven, and there's no value in this. It's about everything, and I think love, justice, charity, and forgot the other one. Yeah, that it's perfect. I think that it's the most important law of all the 10 moral laws we have in the Spirit book.
We have another.
Thiago?
Yeah. I'm a selfish person.
We all are.
From what you're telling me, I started feeling bad because, like, no matter what I do, something will be missing.
Even when we are in the regenerative world, we still have some selfishness in us.
But where do I feel good with that? Where can I start to feel good about it? My question is that, because my impression that I have that everything that I'm going to do, something is still gonna make me feel bad. Where do I feel good? What do I do to feel good? It is the material, it is the time. Where do I feel good?
Well, see,
Question.
yeah, the question is, what do you need to do to feel good? Is that correct? What do you need to do to feel good?
Yeah. Yeah, because again, I am a selfish person. I start realizing that. I start feeling bad about it. I start doing something. But if I'm helping my family, I know that there are people around that are not my family. So then I feel bad that I'm only helping them. And then if I have money to give, I may give and I feel good. But at the same time, I may not have that feel that I have time. Where do I feel good with that?
Yeah. Well, Thiago, I don't know the answer of that. What I can tell you about it's what I use for myself. Yes, especially for the Fraternity Without Borders, right? So for many years, my wife and I, we try to help the ones in need, but we never trust like a group or like that help others. And we found those guys and the people that we know and we trust, they actually do good for others. And then I said, okay, my wife and I, we decided let's help others and a little bit. So we sponsor one kid. We'd like to sponsor two. We're planning to sponsor two, but right now we just sponsor one kid, a girl. But I'm not trying to deviate off your question. I'm just trying to say this. What I try to do, since I don't know the answer how to feel good with that, I feel good doing that, but is the fact that I should not go outside and start, okay, do you need something? I want to help you. Do you need something and I want to help you? Or things like that. I think God is going to put in our way chance and opportunities, and then we need to be smart enough to recognize, okay, you're trying to tell me something, right? So I need to act, and that's the moment that I try to act, and that the reward is this feeling of feel good, and then I know I'm doing the right thing.
Just make a comment on the question. My opinion is that the feel good comes when, if you're a selfish person, like you say you are, and we
are, yeah.
If I think the sensation of feeling good is gonna come when your internal attitude changes when you're doing an action. Because you can, like you just said, you can donate time, you can donate money, but your intentions behind it could be still selfish.
Yep.
Regardless if you're donating time or money or material stuff, it doesn't matter. I'm donating because I want to make everybody to see that I'm good. So my intentions and my feelings that are going with what I'm doing, you're never gonna make me feel good because they're not good intentions to start with. They're selfish. Now, if all of a sudden I'm the selfish person, but in the moment, there's that one moment that I see, you know what, I'm gonna do this because I really want to help this person for the real good that you have that moment. I think we all have. We all have our moments that we do stuff because we want recognition, but we all have the moment that we do something for the real good. Every time we do something with the real intention, with the good intention, with the intention of really helping, the sensation of good will come automatically. So.
And if it doesn't come, it's because...
Exactly. I think it doesn't matter if you're just helping your family, because you say, I'm only helping my family, but maybe it's less, not even my family is to help. So great, and I'm helping my family. I won't go beyond my family, but before I wouldn't even do for my family. So it doesn't matter who you're helping. It doesn't matter if it's material help, if it's time, if it's your feelings that you donate. It doesn't matter. It's what's coming with it from within you. If it's a good, if you're doing it out of your good, the sensation of good will come automatically. Right?
And you can't just also help the outside world without helping your family as well, right? Exactly. So it's also part of
I think you should start inside of your family first.
Yeah.
Another question? It's also on the same point. To a certain extent, it feels like society is emotionally constipated. Like we cannot put our emotions out there. We cannot emotionally engage to other people because it's so easy for a situation to become awkward. So we just avoid. It's way easier for you to connect emotionally to your family or to your peers. But if you're going to your neighbor, you don't know if you connect emotionally with them, that's going to be awkward or not. So you just miss an opportunity of being charitable or being, I don't know, whether a Christian, whatever. the thing is, if we're not open to connect to others, we're never going to be able to actually deliver.
I think the key point is this. Yeah, you need to be alert for the opportunity when the opportunity shows up. Like I said, my friend on Friday, imagine when we were talking, my wife and I were talking with him Friday, 2 days ago, with everything that you just hear today in my mind. So I wanna give him a lecture on that time, but he was not open. And what I said, nothing. Didn't say nothing. I said nothing.
And you get committed to it,
right? But then when you feel, okay, this person need help. This person is asking for a word, and that's why I said that those God is gonna put those things in front of you. You don't need to go and start hunting that. That thing's gonna show up when you're ready. If you're not ready to.
One thing that I love is that we all now started to recognize the things that we are going through and how the selfishness is in us and we have to improve. And it's great, all the discussion, but we have to wrap up for the day, unfortunately. I don't want to be selfish about it.
I just want to say one more thing. The whole goal about this was not to say, okay, what I said here, that's what we need to do. The intention was to provoke this discussion and make us think, right?
Exactly.
So, and now I beg you guys, please go and dig for more. There is a lot of more information there. Go and dig for more, because this 45-minute things here is nothing. It's just a tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. And thank you all for being here. Again, we are now going to close for the passes. Thank you all online. We hope to see you again next Sunday.